He stops performing the moment he believes the audience has already clapped. That is the sentence most women never hear, until it is too late. Men do not retire from effort because they are tired. They retire because they feel crowned. When a man feels like he has nothing left to prove, he does not become lazy by accident. He becomes economical. He spends less because he believes the outcome is secured. This is where women misread peace for depth, calm for maturity, stillness for certainty. They mistake the absence of tension for the presence of commitment. But tension is not chaos. Tension is investment. Tension is effort stretched toward an outcome that is not guaranteed. Men who feel they have nothing left to prove behave very differently from men who are still auditioning. Auditioning men are attentive, sharp, slightly nervous. Crowned men are relaxed, slower, more self-indulgent. One is dangerous because he is hunting. The other is dangerous because he believes he has already won. If you want to understand what makes a man feel finished, you must understand how male identity is built. Men are not raised to be. They are raised to achieve. A man is not told he exists. He is told he must earn the right to exist. He is valued for outcomes. Respect, attention, sex, admiration, even peace come after proof. Proof becomes a drug. Men chase it for years. They chase status, money, women, recognition, dominance. Not because they want these things themselves, but because these things signal that the world sees them. Eventually some men hit a psychological plateau. They acquire enough markers that the hunger fades. This is the moment women romanticize and men quietly exploit. A man who feels he has nothing left to prove stops courting reality. He begins negotiating with it. You see this in relationships first. The effort softens. The curiosity declines. The edge dulls. He still wants you. He just no longer needs to convince himself he deserves you. That shift is subtle. Most women miss it. They feel safe. Safety is not security. Safety is stagnation with better lighting. Men prove themselves for three audiences: other men, women they desire, and themselves. When two of those audiences fall silent, the third grows quiet as well. If he believes other men already respect him, and the woman is already attached, the internal judge relaxes. He no longer feels watched. Men behave best when they feel observed. This is why men often regress after commitment. Marriage, cohabitation, exclusivity, public acknowledgement. These are not romantic milestones for men. They are coronations. They signal arrival. Arrival kills urgency. Women are taught that commitment transforms men into caretakers. In reality, it often transforms them into landlords. They maintain the property, not the courtship. They collect benefits and reduce expenses. This is not because men are evil. It is because men are strategic, even when they believe they are being sincere. Men feel like they have nothing left to prove when three conditions align: when their status feels stable, when their access to feminine energy feels secure, when their ego is no longer threatened by loss. Threat is the engine. Remove the threat, and the engine idles. This is why men who feel replaceable perform miracles. Men who feel irreplaceable perform maintenance. Women often say they want a man who is secure. What they actually want is a man who is securely unsure. A man who believes he can lose you. That belief keeps him sharp. It keeps him awake. Men who feel finished often cloak their withdrawal in spiritual language. They say they are at peace. They say they have matured. They say they no longer chase. This sounds enlightened. It is often exhaustion disguised as wisdom. Peace without growth is decay. There is a difference between a man who has integrated ambition and a man who has anesthetized it. One builds quietly, the other consumes quietly. Here is where it becomes useful to you. Men do not reach the nothing left to prove state uniformly. They reach it selectively. A man may still be hungry professionally while being complacent romantically. He may still chase validation from men while neglecting the woman who already validated him. This selective proving tells you everything. Watch where his energy sharpens and where it dulls. That is where he feels finished. A man who still feels something to prove around you will escalate. He will introduce you. He will define the relationship. He will structure his life to keep access. A man who feels finished will stall. He will blur. He will coast. He will enjoy the benefits of closeness while minimizing the cost of clarity. Women often confuse emotional openness with effort. A man can confess fears and still be done proving himself. Vulnerability is not investment. Investment requires risk. Men prove themselves through action that can be judged. Vulnerability without direction is safe. Commitment is not. This dynamic has been observed empirically, even if the language is softer. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology examined goal disengagement in men following perceived status attainment. The researchers found that once men believed they had achieved sufficient social or relational standing, motivation to pursue further improvement declined, particularly in domains where validation was already secured. Translation: once men feel crowned, they stop auditioning. This is why the most dangerous sentence a woman can say too early is "I am not going anywhere." Stability kills seduction faster than rejection. Men do not fall in love with safety. They fall in love with survival, combined with admiration. When a man feels he has nothing left to prove to you, you become an amenity. Amenities are enjoyed. They are not protected. Women are taught to reassure men. Reassurance is gasoline on complacency. It tells him the fortress is already built. Now here is the uncomfortable truth. Some women actively try to make men feel finished. They over-nurture. They over-validate. They remove friction. They believe comfort will inspire loyalty. Comfort inspires naps. Men respect women who interrupt their self-certainty. This does not mean chaos. It means standards. Standards keep a man proving. Standards signal that the crown can be revoked. Men do not want a woman who competes with them. They want a woman who reminds them that the game is still on. When a man feels he has nothing left to prove, his attention drifts. Not because he wants to leave, but because he wants stimulation. Proving energizes men. Without it, they seek substitutes. Novelty. Distraction. Other women. Workaholism. Substances. Philosophies. This is why men often appear bored inside stable relationships. They are not bored of the woman. They are bored of themselves. Men who feel finished often become critics. They nitpick. They withdraw affection. They posture intellectually. Criticism is the behavior of men who no longer feel the need to impress. If you listen closely, you can hear it. The language shifts from invitation to evaluation, from curiosity to judgment, from pursuit to entitlement. Entitlement is the emotional signature of a man who believes the proof phase is over. Women often attempt to revive desire by increasing availability. This is the opposite of what works. Availability confirms his crown. Men feel most alive when something is at stake. This is why men chase women who are not fully accessible. not because they enjoy cruelty, but because uncertainty activates proving. The chase is not about the woman. It is about the man feeling alive. A man who has nothing left to prove is often a man who has stopped feeling alive. Here is the strategic advantage. You cannot force a man to feel unfinished, but you can refuse to behave as if the game is over. Men calibrate effort based on resistance, not rejection. Resistance. Resistance says access exists, but is conditional. Conditional access keeps men sharp. This is where many women sabotage themselves. They reward minimal effort with maximal access. They treat comfort as currency. Men spend it quickly. If you want a man to continue proving, you must make him feel observed and evaluated without being hostile. Men perform best under silent scrutiny. This does not require speeches. It requires behavior. Men feel finished when they believe your standards have dropped, when they believe you will tolerate ambiguity, when they believe you will stay, regardless of structure. Men stay invested when they believe the floor beneath them is conditional. Now let me interrupt myself here, because some of you listening are already inside dynamics where the man feels crowned and you are confused about how it happened so fast. This is exactly why I offer one-on-one coaching. The link is in the description. Coaching is not therapy, and it is not emotional babysitting. It is strategic analysis. We look at your specific dynamic, where proof ended prematurely, where access was overgranted, and how to recalibrate without begging or threatening. You get precision. You get an external eye that is not softened by your feelings. You get to stop guessing. If you ordered coaching and think you were ignored, check your spam or promotions folder. Important emails hide there like cowards. My landing page is done, and I will be adding it to the description and pinned comment. Go there. Read the free PDF. Watch the free video. Subscribe to the newsletter while you are there, because that is where coaching discounts appear without warning. Also, order the course called The Feminine Game. If you already ordered it, check your spam or promotions folder. An email went out. Back to men and their crowns. A man who truly has nothing left to prove behaves differently from a man who pretends he does. The pretender becomes arrogant. The integrated man becomes selective. He still invests where he values growth. He still sharpens himself. He just no longer chases applause. Most men you encounter are not integrated. They are anesthetized. They confuse comfort with completion. These men often speak about being tired of games. What they mean is they are tired of trying. They want rewards without tension. Women who reward this mindset become caretakers of stagnation. Men who feel finished also resist being challenged by women. They frame challenges as nagging. They frame standards as pressure. They frame boundaries as drama. This language protects their crown. If you listen closely, you will hear it. Any request that requires effort becomes unreasonable. Any expectation becomes control. This is not masculinity. This is entitlement dressed as wisdom. The strategic woman does not argue with this. She observes and adjusts. Men do not wake up one day feeling they have nothing left to prove. It is gradual. It happens every time effort is met with unconditional acceptance. Every time ambiguity is tolerated. Every time withdrawal is rewarded with reassurance. You train men how finished they are allowed to feel. Now I want you to hold this thought, because the next section is where this becomes uncomfortable and useful. Men who feel unfinished are easy to spot. Men who feel finished are harder, because they camouflage themselves as sages. They speak slowly. They reduce intensity. They claim detachment. They frame passivity as wisdom. They say things like, I am beyond that now. Beyond what exactly? Beyond effort. Beyond risk. Beyond the possibility of being evaluated. A man who believes he has nothing left to prove often adopts the posture of a judge. Judges do not audition. They observe. They critique. They withhold. This posture feels powerful to him and confusing to the woman sitting across the table, wondering why the fire disappeared without a fight. Judgment is a defense mechanism. It allows him to feel superior without performing. This is why women sometimes feel like they are dating a professor instead of a lover. He analyzes her emotions. He explains dynamics. He intellectualizes intimacy. He is not present. Presence requires vulnerability. Vulnerability requires something at stake. When a man feels there is nothing left to prove, he no longer puts his ego on the line. He becomes safe with himself and distant with you. Women often try to reignite this by proving themselves harder. They become impressive, accomplished, accommodating. They think admiration will inspire him to re-engage. Admiration soothes him further. It confirms his crown. Men do not reprove themselves because a woman is impressive. They reprove themselves because a woman is not guaranteed. This is why some men downgrade partners after leveling up. They seek women who look up to them, not because they hate strong women, but because strength reflects their stagnation. A woman who mirrors his plateau makes him uncomfortable. A woman who orbits his ego makes him calm. Calm is addictive to men who have been fighting their whole lives. They confuse calm with love. Now here is where it becomes sharp. Men who truly have nothing left to prove do not hoard women. They simplify. They reduce noise. They choose deliberately. They commit cleanly. Men who hoard access while claiming completion are lying to themselves. Completion does not need backups. Backups are maintained by men who are afraid that their crown is imaginary. The man who says he has nothing left to prove, but still flirts with uncertainty, is not finished. He is afraid of discovering that he was never finished at all. This fear shows up in subtle cruelty. He withholds reassurance. He delays definitions. He keeps options visible. This is not dominance. This is insecurity pretending to be leisure. Women often feel smaller around these men. They feel like they are constantly auditioning for someone who refuses to sit in the chair. That feeling is your signal. Men who feel finished do not want to be asked to lead. Leadership requires proving again. This is why clarity scares them. Clarity creates accountability. Accountability reopens the court. So what makes a man feel like he has nothing left to prove in the first place? It is rarely love. It is usually accumulation. Enough money to feel insulated. Enough status to feel visible. Enough sexual access to feel validated. Enough female tolerance to feel untouchable. Notice tolerance, not admiration. Tolerance. Men confuse tolerance with loyalty. Loyalty is active. Tolerance is passive. Passive access feels permanent to men. This is why men change dramatically when women withdraw cleanly. Not dramatically emotionally. Dramatically strategically. Their attention sharpens. Their effort recalibrates. They feel something slipping. Proof re-enters the picture. Men are not moved by explanation. They are moved by consequence. A man who feels he has nothing left to prove often frames female boundaries as manipulation. This is projection. He has been negotiating access unconsciously for years. When a woman does it consciously, He feels exposed. Exposure is uncomfortable. It threatens his crown. Now let us talk about attraction, because this is where the lie lives. Women are told that once a man is secure, attraction deepens. This is half true. Attraction deepens when security coexists with tension. Remove tension, and attraction ossifies. This is why long-term desire requires polarity. Not dominance, not submission. Polarity. Two forces that can move independently. Men who feel finished flatten polarity. They merge routines. They predict outcomes. They remove suspense. They call this intimacy. Intimacy without suspense becomes family. Family without erotic tension becomes obligation. This is why some men cheat not out of lust, but out of panic. Panic that they have stopped feeling alive. The other woman is not better. She is uncertain. Uncertainty reactivates proof. Here is a brutal but useful observation. Men who feel finished often sabotage women they love. They provoke reactions. They withdraw affection. They test patience. They want to see how much they can remove before the structure collapses. This is not conscious cruelty. This is unconscious curiosity. How little effort can I expend and still keep access? This question sits quietly in the minds of men who feel crowned. Women who answer it by enduring teach men exactly how finished they are allowed to feel. Women who answer it by withdrawing teach men the opposite. Withdrawal is not punishment. It is information. Now, I want to address something that will make some of you uncomfortable. Men do not respect unconditional love. They enjoy it. They rely on it. They do not respect it. Respect grows where loss is possible. This does not mean threatening abandonment. It means living in a way where your presence is not guaranteed by tolerance. Men who feel there is nothing left to prove around you will take you for granted without hating you. This is what makes it dangerous. There is no villain. There is no betrayal. There is just erosion. Erosion is quiet. By the time you notice it, the shape has already changed. The strategic woman does not wait for erosion to announce itself. She notices shifts early. She does not argue about them. She adjusts behavior. Men do not respond to emotional essays. They respond to changes in access. Access includes time, emotional labor, sexual availability, attention, validation, admiration, caretaking. When these are unlimited, proof ends. Now, before we go further, I want to remind you again. If you are inside a dynamic where you feel the man has gone flat, distant, or crowned himself prematurely, and you want clarity instead of emotional fog, one-on-one coaching is available. The link is in the description. This is not motivational talk. This is strategic diagnosis. We map exactly where the proving stopped, where access became unconditional, and how to recalibrate without ultimatums or theatrics. You get tailored feedback, not generic advice. You stop guessing and start acting with leverage. If you ordered coaching and did not see a response, check your spam or promotions folder. That is where emails like to disappear. My landing page is done, and I will be adding it to the description and pinned comment. Go there. Read the free PDF. Watch the free video. Subscribe to the newsletter while you are there, because that is where discounts for coaching appear quietly. Also, order the course called The Feminine Game. If you already ordered it, check your spam or promotions folder. An email was sent out. Now let us return to the psychology. Men who truly integrate their proving instinct do not need women to manage it for them. They continue to set goals. They continue to challenge themselves. They continue to feel unfinished in the world, even if they feel secure in love. These men are rare. Most men outsource their sense of completion to women. They feel finished because you make them feel finished. This is why relationships are not neutral spaces. They shape male identity. A woman who demands nothing trains a man to demand nothing of himself. A woman who expects structure trains a man to build it. Men do not resent expectations. They resent expectations they cannot meet. If a man resents your standards, it is because he doubts his capacity or his desire. Desire matters. A man who wants you will rise. A man who settles will coast. Coasting feels like peace at first. Then it feels like decay. Women often ask how to tell if a man feels he has nothing left to prove, or if he is simply calm and grounded. The difference is trajectory. Grounded men still move. Finished men stagnate. Grounded men invest forward. Finished men maintain sideways. Grounded men expand life. Finished men repeat it. Watch repetition. Repetition is the signature of completion. Now let us talk about power, because this is the unspoken layer. Men who feel finished believe they hold the power. They believe the woman is more invested. This belief shapes everything. Power does not require cruelty. It only requires asymmetry. When a man believes the woman needs him more than he needs her, proof ends. This is why women who build full lives outside men are treated differently. Not because men admire independence as a concept, but because independence threatens asymmetry. Threat restores proving. Men prove themselves where they feel dispensable. If you want to understand male behavior, stop listening to what men say they value and watch where they feel replaceable. Now I want to give you an image that will stay with you. Men are like actors. As long as there is an audience, they perform. When they believe the audience is captive, they improvise less. When they believe the audience can leave, they rehearse harder. You do not need to clap louder. You need to stand closer to the exit. This is not manipulation. This is theater. Now I will say something else that offends people. Love does not cure male complacency. It often accelerates it. Men fall in love and relax. Women fall in love and invest. This asymmetry is why women often feel lonely in relationships. Men who feel they have nothing left to prove often say things like, "I know you love me." They say it as a fact. Facts do not require effort. Desire requires effort. If you want to keep a man proving, you must remain a desire, not a fact. Facts are static. Desires move. This does not mean playing games. It means maintaining standards, and a life that does not revolve around his comfort. Comfort is the enemy of male momentum. Men grow through friction. Remove friction and growth stops. Women who smooth everything create stagnation and then resent it. Now let us talk about exits, because this matters. Some men will never re-enter the proving phase with you. Not because you did something wrong, but because you were the place they rested. Men rarely rebuild desire where they went to sleep. This is why some men commit immediately to the next woman. She meets him unfinished. Do not take this personally. Timing matters more than worth. A man who meets you at the end of his proving arc will not suddenly restart it because you are special. He will enjoy you. He will not build for you. This is why discernment early matters. Watch effort. Watch clarity. Watch structure. Men who feel finished avoid structure. Structure implies intention. Intention implies accountability. Accountability is the enemy of entitlement. Now we approach the final layer. What happens when a man truly has nothing left to prove and is not lying to himself? These men become dangerous in a different way. They choose ruthlessly. They invest selectively. They leave quickly. They do not hoard. They do not linger. They do not confuse women. Confusion is a sign of unfinished business. If a man confuses you, he is either unsure of himself or enjoying asymmetry. Either way, proof is not happening. Women often ask if they should help men grow. No. Growth is voluntary. You cannot drag a man back into proving. You can only refuse to reward his completion fantasy. The most powerful thing a woman can do is not inspire. It is withdraw, without bitterness. Bitterness keeps the tie alive. Indifference closes the loop. Now, before I close this, let me remind you of something important. I do not do pimping. That chapter is closed. What I do now is analysis, strategy, education. I explain the mechanics so you can stop romanticizing dynamics that quietly drain you. I also started a new channel called Ex-Pimp Explains Men, Masterclass. I post twice a week. The videos are long, about 50 minutes, and go deeper into these dynamics without compression. There is a link explaining the channel, so you know exactly what you are stepping into. If this video resonated, subscribe. If it irritated you, subscribe anyway. Irritation means something landed. Comment below and tell me whether you have ever dated a man who felt finished too early, or whether you recognized it and exited before erosion set in. I read them. And remember this sentence because it will save you years. Men stop proving when they believe they have arrived. Never live like the destination. Disclaimer. This content was generated with the assistance of artificial intelligence and is designed for commentary, analysis, and educational discussion. It reflects simulated perspectives and narrative analysis, not factual claims about real individuals. Viewer discretion is advised.